It's time for a little Monday mindset mentoring. I'm going to ask you a real quick question. What is your biggest communication problem? What is something that you're worried about and it doesn't communicate well? You can't get your message off. And one of those times you're talking to your boss, you're talking to your partner, you're talking to your kids, whoever you're talking to, you feel like you have to repeat yourself over and over and over and over and over again. And you always feel like, man, I can't get this message across, and let me try that again. Let me say this again. You keep trying to have to repeat yourself, and that gets really annoying, right? Now, I want you to think about this from Proverbs 27, verse 14. One who blesses his friend with a loud voice early in the morning, it will be considered a curse to him. How many times are you trying to send a message to someone? You're trying to explain something. You're trying to give them the best advice you could ever possibly have, something that you know will help them because it helped you. But they take it and they're like, okay, whatever. It's not that important. There's one time when I was really big into fitness training, I was helping my wife with something. And she said, well, I learned this from this one influencer. It's like, well, it kind of does this. This is not that great for your shoulders. It's really bad for that. Blah, 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 blah. And she was like, that's not what I was asking. I was telling her the right things. I'm not saying I know everything. I was telling her the right things. But in that moment, she wasn't open to receiving that message, right? Whenever you're talking to your spouse, whenever you're talking to your boss, whenever you're talking to your kids, are they open to the message that you want to give them? Because you have to remember that you might have the greatest advice, the greatest solution, the greatest XYZ, but if they can't receive it, it doesn't matter. If you're watering your grass, if you're watering your lawn, but you don't have any grass out there, or your lawn is all rocks, you're not going to grow anything. If you're trying to find, the analogy I like to use is if you're trying to find the country music station, but you keep going to pop, you keep going back to pop, and then you're like, why do they never play country music? It's because it's always on the pop station. They're not receiving it. Like the towers are sending that signal all the time. You're just not getting it because you're not tuned into the right station. The person you're trying to talk to is not tuned into the right station for them to receive the message you're trying to give them. This is why in the Bible, Jesus had to feed the thousands before he could preach to them. Because if you are hungry, you don't care about brand name if you don't have clothes. You don't care about brand whole foods, healthy foods if you're trying to just feed yourself. You shouldn't care about Amex versus Visa if you don't have money in the bank account. If you don't have a job and can't afford to pay the bills, you probably shouldn't be playing video games. Or if your roommate's always playing video games, they're not paying their rent, do you think you telling them, hey, maybe you should get a job, is it gonna work? No. If you and your spouse are fighting and you're like, hey, you didn't do dishes, do you think that's gonna work? No. If your kid's mad at you because you didn't let them go to some dumb influencer concert and you want to explain to them, this is why that's not the best place for you to be, do you think they care? No. Now, I'm not saying that you need to bend over and do everything for them, but rather, how do you give your message in a way that they will interpret it and respond to it because they can receive it? Your problem isn't that you don't know how to communicate. Your problem is you don't know how to communicate in the way that they can take the message, or they're willing to listen to the message in a way that influences them to understand what you're saying. Now, this doesn't mean you're always right. This doesn't mean you're always wrong. All this is saying is that every time you want to communicate a message to someone, how are they going to take it? What is it that they want to hear? How will they interpret it in the best way? How do you put yourself in a position to win by teaching this person in a way that they will receive it? If I'm in the radio station and I'm sending out country music and no one's listening, either they don't know we exist and they don't tune in right, or no one wants it. So maybe the message you're trying to promote or share, no one wants it. They don't want it at this time. They're not open to listening. Again, in Proverbs 27:14, one who blesses his friend with a loud voice early in the morning, it will be considered a curse to him. You may be trying to be like, hey honey, I hope you have a great day. This is gonna be the greatest day ever. You are awesome and you are loved. But if she's not looking forward to her day, your intention is there to help her see a better side of it. But if she's in a bad mood, she doesn't want to hear it, she's not open to receiving the message, she just hears you being like, oh my God, is this guy again trying to be all positive? Why is he so positive? I don't want to be positive about this. Negativity isn't the greatest thing, but at the same time, at that moment, they do not want to hear it. If I go to a concert to hear a certain thing and I do not get that thing, I am not happy. If I don't go to a concert and the singer just keeps singing and I'm not there to hear it, what does it matter what they're singing, right? If you're trying to look for the country station, we always go to pop, you go to pop, you go to pop, you go to pop. And you never try and find that other message or the message you're trying to get, you will never be open to it. You'll never receive it. You may be trying to bless your friends. You may be trying to give good advice. You may be trying to do the best you can for other people. But if they're not in a position early in the morning, most of us don't want to hear it. Like whenever you get that like 8 a.m. meeting, you're like, who schedules meetings at 8 a.m. when everyone's starting to work? No one's happy to be there. No one wants to hear it. If you call an all staff meeting for everyone, all hands on deck, but no one cares about what you're talking about, you may have the best plan for whatever it is they don't care about, but if they don't care about it, they don't care about it. Again, that's why Jesus had to feed the thousands first before he preached to them. Because if you don't have your basic needs met, if you're not in a place to receive, it doesn't matter what happens around you, you're not hearing it. If the person you're trying to speak to does not want to hear the message, they don't care about advice, they don't want to hear what you have to say, they don't want to feel better, they're not going to get it. They're not going to hear what you're saying. They don't care because they're not in a place to receive it. And anything you're trying to bless them with ends up being a curse because they're like, oh my God, it's just a bunch of noise. So if you want to communicate better with your spouse, you want to communicate better with your kids, you want to communicate better in general in life, it starts with you. Where are you fitting into this? Where are you trying to shove your message where it doesn't matter to them? Are they not open to it? Do they not care about it? So they will never receive it. And you will always be seen as a curse rather than a blessing. So if you want to feel like a blessing, learn how to interpret these signals. If you want help doing that, as we end up October, we're going to November, where I'm doing a no noise November. What it's going to help you do is to remove the distractions from your life so you can hear yourself better, you can understand yourself better, so then you can start to work on others. Because we can't help others if we can't help ourselves. You don't know where you're going if you don't know where you're at. And I know people get upset about that. Like, you can absolutely help others if you don't help yourself. Well, kind of, I guess, but then you become the tugboat. You're the tugboat pulling everyone along. You know what happens to the tugboat? When they decommission it, they break it down, they strip it for parts, and it's done. But the cruise ship, what's it called? The barge, whatever it is that they're tugging along all the time, that still works because it gets fixed. You got burnt out trying to pull everyone along. So if you don't want to be the tugboat, instead you want to be the lighthouse that stands still and firm, it guides, it just sends a message. If people want to hear the message, they'll come. If they don't want to hear the message, they think you're a curse, they don't care. Stop burning yourself out trying to please everyone. Stop burning yourself out trying to save everyone. If you don't know how to please yourself, save yourself first. This isn't about being selfish, but it is kind of about being selfish with your time, with your life, with your energy. You only get so much time. You only get one life. You only get so much energy. And you're putting it in the wrong places. Be somewhere where you will be a blessing. Be someone who blesses others rather than as a curse or seen as a curse. So that's it for today on this Monday Mindset Message. I'm Lawrence, founder of Candle. If you like more things like this, like, subscribe, you know where to find us. All the things are in the socials below. In peace, love, and light. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you're listening in from, watching this from. Until next time, this is Lawrence, signing off.